welcome to my studio. My name is Julia Kelly. I am a fiber collage artist, an art educator, and now a cross-stitch designer. It is Saturday, November 11th, and this is my sixth floss tube artist tube. I call it a floss tube artist tube because it's going to be it has been and shall always be very unconventional. And mostly it's just me chatting away after spending the week in my studio, which is very scary and very messy, with my German Shepherd. And I started doing these videos because I, by the end of the week, tend to just start arguing with a dog and not talking a lot, even though I, go out with my husband at least once, usually just for my sanity's sake. And, but it's a wonderful life to work in your studio this long. I've had eras in my life where I haven't been able to, and I'm very thankful. I am thoroughly enjoying the art making part of it, but I do get a little loopy by Friday. So I'm glad to discover floss tube, and not that there's a lot of artist tubes out there that I found, but yeah, this is fun for me. So like I said, today's November 11th. It's actually almost afternoon. It's about 12:30. I sent my husband off this morning with the dog to literally he went and got hay. We live on a apple orchard and have some livestock and stuff. And I usually do this Saturday morning rounds with him of going to the feed store, getting chicken feed and horse feed, and then he actually went out and got some hay where our horse has been out on our pasture, and now it's time to stack up on some hay. Took the dog with him, and then we also were cleaning up, like I said, a historical homestead, so we can always fill up the back of a pickup truck with the bed with stuff to go to the dump or to our local metal salvage, which he did. Do your husbands do this? They're cute. It's funny, but it's just funny. I said I'm gonna film, and I got I got a finish with me video finished filming this morning. It took a little longer than I thought. And then he gets back from this errand running today of, the metal salvage and the hay and the feed, and like I said, we need to clean up. This last group brought horses to take up into the high country to hunt, so we set up some corrals with side panels down near that house, and that all has to be kind of put away. What does he choose to do right now of all those things? Hang up the lights. And I heard him, because, they make a real distinct sound, like they're kind of, slapping against the posts. We have a long deck in the front of this log house. So I went out there and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm hanging up the winter lights. And I said, well, that's fine if you want to do that, but I'm going to tell everybody that's what you're doing, and that's why there's on occasion like the slappy sound outside this window. So I don't know. I don't know if he's done right in front of the studio window where I told him I'd be filming on 14 acres of land. They're so cute, husbands. They're so cute, But isn't that a mom thing? Like, you can be, like, I can be so lonely and want interaction at certain times through the week, and everybody's busy and doing their own thing. And then it's like, I swear, down to the dog that now is laying behind me. And I was like 4 minutes away from finishing the how-to video, how I do my cookie cutters, finish my cookie cutter video when they got back. And she just was whining the whole time because she wanted inside, outside situated, and doesn't really like that I talk to nobody. So she's laying behind me right now, but I'm going with this. We're going. So I did write notes today because last week I realized that I went in a circle and said the same thing 3 times. And then I had to edit out the other 2 times and would just be like, I think I already mentioned that. And then I would go back. Sure enough, I'd already said it. So I'm looking down. I've said hello I've introduced myself. Today is, like I said, November 11th, Armistice Day in Europe, or Veterans Day in America. I at first was going to say Happy Veterans Day, and I thought, well, I don't know if that's really appropriate to say Happy Veterans Day. Veterans Day is special to my heart because, unfortunately, he's walking by again. I lost an uncle in Vietnam, in the Vietnam War. I actually wasn't born yet. He was killed a year before I was born. My brother, I have a sister and a brother. We're 3 years apart, with a brother stuck in between me and my sister. My mother was pregnant with my brother when he was killed in Vietnam. And so my remembrance as a child was, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother because my parents were divorced when I was really young. She helped raise me, and I hung out a lot at her house. And she was what's called a Gold Star mother. And if you're not familiar with that, and they still do it today, it's more prevalent, I think, when there really is an active conflict or a war. You see it more in this area. I drive by, but you will see a flag in certain businesses and windows that has a blue star, and that is for any mother or family who has a child in service. And I don't save a lot of stitchings out and about, but many years ago I came across this stitching, if you can see with the glare, and this is the blue star flag that a lot of that you would, as a child, I saw more of around my community, but now I think I kind of saw a rise in them during the conflicts in Iran, Iraq area, like what, early 90s. I was just married when that happened. But yeah, but if you have a child in the military during a time of conflict, or probably, I think maybe any time, you are what's called a blue star mother. If you will sometimes see ones that have more than one blue star, and that means you have more than one child in a conflict. You have more than one child in the military. I just saw on my Instagram this morning that there was I never actually had seen it before. I don't remember seeing it before. A Norman Rockwell illustration of a son coming home from the war, and his mother kind of in an apartment building, kind of like maybe in Chicago or New York, and her running to him, and there were multiple stars in the different windows, and they were all blue stars. Most people don't know that this tradition goes a little farther than just the blue star. If you have a child that is wounded, you hang a silver star, and that means that your child was wounded in a conflict, and you're called a silver star mother. And unfortunately, I know this all because my grandmother was a gold star mother, and that means that you lost a child in a war. And we lost my uncle in Vietnam. He was just out of high school and just made the decision before he was drafted. It was right, like I was born in 67. He was killed in, I want to say that had to be 66. I think it was the spring of 66. And height of the Vietnam War, height of the drafting, getting drafted. And he decided to enlist before he was drafted. It was pretty likely he was going to get drafted, and he wanted to be a Marine. So he actually trained as a Marine and was sneaking back into camp. He was was one of the guys that went out ahead to kind of clear the way, and was killed. So she was a gold star mother, and it was quite a social group. That there, just like there were women who did the Elks Auxiliary, the BPOE, or the different Gideons or whatever. They had there were enough of them, all the colors, gold, silver, and then also the blue star mothers, that would do social, charitable work my entire life. Like, you know, they would have luncheons to raise money for the Veterans Administration, the veterans, you know, the I forget what, you know, in where I grew up, what it was called, but they'd have pancake breakfasts or different, you know, different things throughout the year. But one thing that I helped her with was on Veterans Day, just like probably today. I haven't actually been to town. My husband has, and I haven't asked him. Usually there's a table set up and people are selling poppies, you know, for a donation to the veterans today. And so I spent many of my childhood sitting with her in her sunroom. She always seemed to have a sunroom no matter what house she was in, making the poppies. We used to actually hand make them, not get the bulk ones. You've seen them, the little carnation poppies that are crunched like crepe paper with the little tag on them. But we used to hand make those. And I have made many a poppy by cutting layers of crepe paper squares into a circle and then snipping, you know, the edges and then crumpling them together. And I actually have a bigger one here of how we would do it. So this is like 5 layers. This is a bigger version that I made many years ago and put some beads on it. But yeah, I would make poppies with my grandmother, and then she and her other ladies would go, you know, set up at the grocery stores and the downtown corners and sell poppies today in recognition of Remembrance Day. And then when I was a art teacher, all those years, and I was going to share kind of my whole story of how I became an art teacher in a one-room schoolhouse for you know, Native American kiddos and rural ranch kiddos. I'm going to save it because this happened to just land on Veterans Day, and I actually wanted to share this. But if I was still teaching this week, this would be our project for art for this week. And the kids really got into it. Like, I would just teach them how to make these, and it's very easy to make. All you do, it doesn't matter the size. Like, this is handmade orange paper, but like I said, you can get just a strip of orange crepe paper. You just need a square of some kind of not very thick paper, like tissue paper, crepe paper. This is handmade paper. And all you're going to do is, this one is, usually there are 5 layers in general, but you're going to cut that square into a circle. And then if you see, I've cut, you know, kind of like a cross, you know, this way and this way. So there's a major triangle taken out. And then if you have some kind of crimping shears, the ones I've shown you, crimping, not crimping. Oh my goodness. You know, the fancy cut edge scissors, you cut the edges, and then you somehow need to staple it to a stick. I actually, this one, because it's beaded, I used wire around just some kind of a stick I had. And then you just take it by the layer and squeeze it, each one layer at a time. And this one has not been squeezed. I made this years and years ago. And you have to, and my grandmother was such a stickler if I didn't get the staple exactly in the right place, but you just literally squeeze it. And then when you open it up again, you have a poppy. And a lot of times what I do with the kiddos at school is you can also use a pipe cleaner, like a green pipe cleaner. Staple this so you're hitting the staple across the pipe cleaner. You know, you kind of have to practice on that, but once you get it, then you can put a little strip of paper on it that says, you know, Happy Veterans Day. And then you can, you know, you have this pipe cleaner that you can tie on. We always seem to tie ours on our rear view mirror in our vehicles. But the kids really get into it. They love making them, and they make a bunch of them. And then we always said, okay, you made one for you. Now make one or two for somebody else to give them. And then they had a strip that said Happy Veterans Day. And they learned all about, the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month when peace came. But it really didn't, because World War II happened not that long after that. But yeah, so the poppy is a symbol of all that. And if you've never Googled, England, obviously, for obvious reasons, really celebrates the poppy. And several years ago, I don't remember how many years ago, they made the moat around the Tower of London, filled it with poppies that I want to say had names on them. I could be wrong about that. But yeah. And yeah, so since my mother was a Gold Star mother because she lost a child in the war, this day and Memorial Day, we actively do more as a family for Memorial Day, taking his flag out to the cemetery and flying his flag that was on the coffin, and making sure that the graves are all nice and clean and decorated, and but again, that's kind of my heritage of Scandinavian heritage. My family back in Minnesota does it. So yes, so Veterans Day, poppies. I think this is actually felt. It could be World War II. One time I researched the name on things, and I cannot remember 100%. But yeah, so this is always up on my shelf. But yeah, this is my childhood. This is my childhood with my grandmother. And again, I never met my uncle. He was killed before I was born. My brother was just not even, I think like I said, he was killed in the spring, and my brother was born in August. So, but it definitely defines you as a family when you lose someone like that. Okay, so that was, I gotta look down here. I've shared all of that. I shared the cross stitch. I shared poppies. Oh, so what I want to, and of course I had this all queued up, and now, because I talked too long, it went away. I have used poppies a lot in my artwork. I think because they're just connected to my childhood, like I said, and also, frankly, they're a really easy flower to do in applique. I have done some in cross stitch that I think I mentioned that I actually had my spring line to come out from my first patterns, and then my computer blew up. So you'll see poppies in my spring line, but I'm not going to show you that yet. You can see my, I think I've already shared my rabbit. I'll put a bigger picture of these things while I talk. In fact, I'm going to scoot over a little bit, like right here. So when I talk about my artwork, I'm going to put it right here while I'm talking. I'm going to take a drink right now real quick. My husband's done putting up his winter lights. They're all glittering at the same time I'm taping, but they're pretty. They're going to be pretty tonight. I wonder if he's going to wrap the posts. He'll probably come do that any second now. Go wrap down on the posts. But so yeah, so I want to highlight some of the art that I've done that has poppies. And like I said, that, I mean, it's over there, but I'm putting a picture right here of my hair and poppies. I mean, poppies are just, I'm just looking at this. I mean, I used, a fabric applique, and then I came in and did a chain stitch for the stems, and then I did a running stitch on the pods, and a lot of French knots. And I don't know, they're just a fun kind of wild flower that I really do enjoy. I've used a lot to the point I've kind of told myself I need to do other flowers. So yeah, so my hair in poppies is one thing, artwork that I've done in poppies. Another one that don't know if I shared, and if you go to my website, which is moonflowerstudio.biz, and then click at the top of the screen, it'll say art. And then if you touch that, it has a drop down menu with my different portfolios. And I'm tripping over my words, so take a pause. Gallery work is one of the pages that has my bigger work. And if you scroll down, you can see all my work. But at the bottom, I did a piece many years ago called, I always want to say, is To Kill a Mocking Magpie. I always get magpie and mockingbird mixed up. These are Colorado magpies. And this one is called Magpie and Measuring Cup. And it literally is the magpie sitting on a measuring cup with a teaspoon. And it's just kind of an homage to Renaissance still lifes. They would go in the kitchen and paint a dead rotting pheasant next to a knife, and I was just inspired by that. But this is a personal work that I have hanging down at the end of my hallway, and I have poppies in this big orange poppies, and these ones are layered. Well, actually, I can't quite remember because it's so long ago. I think actually it's one piece of fabric, the whole poppy shape, the orange shape, and then I just came in with stitch work to define the different petals, just the same way that, you know, like this, all the different, you know, the different petals in a poppy, which is kind of what makes a poppy beautiful. So I have that one, and then if I go, I'm going now to a different screen. I know in CrossStitch they're called smalls, little work. I call them little things. I have for a couple years. So like if I do artwork in a cookie cutter or like a small metal something, I call them little things. And I did a very popular, he's back now right in front of the window. He literally is looking at me. Yeah, I'm recording right now. Just a second. Yeah, he's in the house now. He was mouthing to me, "I'm hungry," like he didn't think he could come in the house. Kind of reminds me when I was a kid, our neighbors had kids that the mom would just put out a paper plate with a peanut butter sandwich, and they had to stay out all day long. But yeah, so he might hear a bump or something from the kitchen, but that's what's going on. So so as I was saying, I've done poppies a lot, and I am putting, I got to scoot over this way so you can see here. This is a pretty popular a collage that I did many years ago that I have also made as a print and sold it many times as a print. And it's dairy cows in one of the larger 5-pound wooden cheese boxes with dairy cows and then poppies in front. And I made this whole thing and I was really proud of it. And then my husband told me that poppies are actually very poisonous to livestock and that would not be a good thing. So these cows are, there's a depth difference between where the cows are and where the poppies are. The cows aren't eating the poppies because they're poisonous. So yeah, so there's another of my larger pieces that have poppies. And so I'm looking again at my list because I want to make sure that I touch on everything. So yeah, so poppies have just always been real special to me for various reasons, and I do use them a lot in my artwork because they're a very beautiful flower that is very interesting. So I did finish my Christmas ornaments, which I was doing the finished video for. I cannot put up the pattern cover here because it's not done yet. I think I just want to spend my time getting that done while this is uploading. The last video took about an hour. No, it was an hour-long video and it took about 4 hours to upload. So my hope is that timing-wise, Sunday morning, this will be all up for you to peruse and check out. You know, someday maybe I'll do a day ahead and get this all up on Saturday morning. That hasn't happened yet. So I did, but Oh, now there's a deer. I tell you, this window is just active today. There's like a deer now coming up towards me. It's a buck. Oh my gosh. I got to stop and show you this. So yeah, this is literally like 10 feet away from me. I'm standing at a glass door. You can kind of see the glass door, just filming this 4-point buck that has strolled in. They're going to get horny here in a little bit. This is just the day of unbelievable, interesting, but this is going to be a patchworky video. So what I wanted, I think I had paused to go get what my Christmas design is. So I've been doing primitive animals. I've done turkeys, and then I did horses. I did this Appaloosa, and then a paint in this flat side primitive style that I talked about was very prevalent in American folk art. That flat side view of animals, either for children's art like toy blocks or for what's called vanity art. Excuse me. Before there was bragging rights on the internet, people would hire traveling artists to do a depiction of their prized, stud or whatever. So I did horses, and I have done these in applique. These weren't new designs. These are previous designs that I've done in applique. The dog is now choosing to eat her food now. I've kind of just given up on what happens around me happens around me. But I also last year, when I did, a couple years ago, because of family stuff and aging parents, I did Dala horses. And from Sweden, we have a big Scandinavian tradition in our family. I'm Danish. My husband's Swedish. His grandmother came over from Sweden as an adult with a couple brothers to Chicago, and that's how his mother's family got to America. So I have done Dala horses in applique, and if I have some pictures of those, I'm not quite sure where they are. I will put a picture of my applique Dala horse here. But then I decided that I would do Dala horses for Christmas. So here's my Dala horse CrossStitch. And if you're not familiar with the Dala horse, it is a Swedish tradition. Like a lot of folk art, it has many a tale of how it got started. Basically, it came from a specific region in Sweden called, and I know I'm going to totally butcher this, and I have notes, that's why I'm looking down, Dalarna, Dalarna region. And there's many an opinion of why they were created. Pick your story, basically. A couple of the stories is this Dalarna region is known for what we might call toll painting, a certain kind of style of using, painting floral and designs with multicolors. That's the tradition of certain areas of Sweden, Poland, different areas. You'll get these gorgeous motifs. And one story is about, generally it's thought that, I gotta scroll up my, oh, come on, move up, just a second. Oh my goodness, yes. Why aren't you, oh, here we go, okay, scroll a little bit. Generally it's thought that about the early 1700s is when you started to see these colorful horses with this kind of style. One story is that there are villages in this area that housed over soldiers from fighting, just like how, up through the Revolutionary War up until very recently was kind of a seasonal thing, and then you'd have to you know, winter over the soldiers, and the soldiers board carved horses. And then because of the style of painting in that area, that they were created these colorful paint colors. Generally, Dala horses have some kind of a red, green, yellow, blue to them. Most usually red, but they certainly can vary slightly. Usually they're made out of wood, you know, but like most folk art, they have just expounded, you know, to different ways and styles. On that, I when I did them as applique, did a few traditional Dalas that traditionally do not have a tail color, and traditionally, like I said, have some kind of a styled saddle and cinches that kind of look like this. But the way I did the applique was that I took this idea, combined it with this, and got what I call Dala breeds. And what I mean by that is that I just did different breeds of horses with the traditional Dala saddle and colors on the saddle and the cinches. So this is like a brown horse. And I think this is a version of a new breed called Rocky Mountain horse. And this is considered a chocolate. No, I'm sorry. This is considered a chocolate. This is one sized to fit into a cookie cutter. So I have the traditional, and then I have a few breeds. So this one is a brown horse. This one's called a chocolate horse with a white mane. And then this one, which I really think is cute, is a dapple gray. And I'm going to have these different variations in my pattern. Now, saying that, I also have given you basically, if you want to do an Appaloosa, you can combine these two patterns for the Appaloosa, or if you want to do a paint, you could combine these patterns for a paint. So in essence, I think you have like 4 or 5 different variations you could do. So yeah, so this is my Christmas Dala horse breed pattern. And the pillows, so in these 3 pillows, again, utilizing these also, this is a 3/4 stitch border, just going up 2. This one is going up 3. So the triangle is 1 more row higher. And then this, believe it or not, is just a variation on this that I fiddled around with on the computer with my software design and figured out this variation of a border, which it looks really complicated. It's not. I mean, it's more complicated. I would say it's equivalent to if you're a knitter and you've moved past just like a moss stitch or a garter stitch or like a pretty simplistic knit and purl combo. This is just like one step up. Like, you can learn it, and then once you know it, like once I was started on each row, you kind of have to pay attention to the corners, but once I was started, I didn't even look at my pattern because I just knew I didn't look at my chart because I just knew my pattern. And then I just did the pattern of stitching until I got close to the corner, and then I looked at the corners. And then broken down, the red is stitched first, and that's like this, with having lacy open where you can see through to the fabric. And that was really cute. I like that. I didn't have to add the green. And then the green literally is just in the open spaces of this lace work. Everywhere there was an open space, I just stitched in 2 squares of green. I didn't even have a pattern. I just went through and just finished 2 more X's of space, and I will probably do a video, slow down video of how I did that. And then it has a row of green full X's, and then it just has a row of yellow backstitch. And then the corners, there was just a full open square on the corner, like an inset square, and I just put a flower to then kind of mimic this design. So it looks complicated. It's a little harder. It's certainly doable if it's something that you want. And I really like how this, I'm going to do some other variations of this. This was just one of many variations possible. So that is my Dala horse, my Dala breed. And this is 16 count. I think this is Bramblebush, dark chocolate, probably either bean sprout, or I think that's bean sprout. This is frog leg, and I think Law and Order. But yeah, so this is my hope, is, again, like I think I've shared in my other videos, I'm too much of an art teacher. I have a hard enough time telling you what colors I've used once, let alone giving you a conversion to DMC, because I want you to create your own horse. I don't want you, I mean, if you want to copy mine, but I don't want to word anything to make it sound like you have to copy mine, or I expect you to. I mean, these are very simplistic. I mean, so literally what this is, see which one has the most blue. So all of these, basically, you pick the color of your horse you want. You pick your color of your mane. So that's like 2 to 3 colors. And then all of these use, well, depending on the shade, I think I have 2 reds. One is Molly from Roxy Floss Co. The other one was Classic Color Works Ruby Slippers. So just depending on which one looked better on the color of the horse, that's the one I used. And then my greens were either Frog Leg or Bean Sprout. Maybe Mossy. Maybe there's one Mossy in there too. And then all of them have Blackboard Blue, which is that Classic Color Works. I'll have to check on that. So I have my blue, and then the yellow, again, depending on which yellow I thought looked better. And a lot of the yellow is actually just highlighted stitching. The yellow was either Daisy, Cottage Daisy, or Roxy Floss Co.'s, it's French word for sunflower, Tourasur or something like that, but it's her yellow. I want to say, yeah. So not very many colors at all. Basically, you need a couple green. If you're going to do more than one, a green, a blue, a yellow, and a red. And traditionally, Dala horses have those colors. And then if you're doing the traditional Dala horse, I mean, red is the most popular. You'll see green, you'll see blue, but obviously whatever color you pick for here is going to change the colors you choose for here. And this is personal preference. You know, just turn your brain off and pick what you like, and maybe start, you know, with a color you really, really like, and pick where you want to use that color, and then pick and choose the other colors you need to use. So there's just too many variations for me to provide, you know, a major DMC conversion on these. I think these turned out so nice. I really love this pattern. And what's really funny is that for many a year, I live in an area where a lot of people have horses, obviously, and I've collected the cookie cutter horses for a lot of years. And I don't know. I actually am not a very good horse drawer. I'm way better with animals like cats. Well, no, actually, dogs are the easiest for me. Dogs, coyotes, wolves, kind of animals like that. So yeah, so there's just something about a horse that is a little harder for me. But once I kind of broke the code, the variations of horses is, you know, it's fun. I had a lot of fun with this. You know, since these are winter, I didn't put them on grass. You know, you could also put some white snow. Like on this has actually been cool if I had just done some white snow underneath. You know, there's a lot of variations you can do, I hope, with these. So yeah, so this is my Dala Breed. And then the vintage cookie cutters, you know, I just find in you know, in antique malls. You know, and some of them are loved more than others. And I did just film how to put it in a cookie cutter. If you want to put it in a cookie cutter, you need to size it to either 18 count Ada, or would that be 36 count? 18 and 18, 15. Okay, so 36 count linen to do it. And they I stitched them on, oops, I'm losing my sticky. I stitched them on wool, just a wool backing. In the video, I talk about, my bet is that you could do, I think there's a way to do it using cross-stitch paper, which I have never even touched. At some point in time when I get my hands on some, I'll kind of fiddle around and see if that's also an option for the cookie cutters, if that would be easier to do it. But this isn't hard. Like, I mean, I can knock one of these out so fast now. I mean, I've made a bunch of them. But I honestly, like, I mean, I get that I've been at this for a while, but I don't think that this is hard. It takes some time, you know. It's definitely a finish where you can't be like, oh, I'm going to finish it in an hour. It's a good, you know, it took me most of a day, but I was filming and explaining too, so I'm not sure, you know, how long it would take. But I mean, look at, isn't that so cool? And then with the green handle. And like I've said, if you're starting to collect things, vintage things that are painted, I really encourage you to get a lead testing kit. It's just a little jar that has Q-tips with some kind of chemical on them, and you just rub it. And then if they turn a certain color, that means that they're lead. And if you have kiddos around, babies, you definitely want to make sure that you know what's lead. But yeah, but that's my, you know, but you could, any of these, you could, you know, you could put the saddle on if you want. So, so yeah, so that is my Christmas ornaments that will hopefully get up this evening or tomorrow morning at the latest on my, you can go through via my website, moonflowerstudio.biz, to my Etsy store, which is MF Studio Stitch, and purchase the PDFs, and there'll be a variation for you to try. And if you even want more variations, you can also purchase these, and then that'll show you some other variation possibilities and color combinations to have. And yeah, so my Dala horse, and I will provide a link to the Wikipedia page of the history of the Dala horse. I mean, the art traditions in Scandinavia, this is just one of many art traditions that have just always intrigued me. So that's my Dala horse patterns, and I really enjoyed making those. I have one more, my fractional freebie for Christmas. I want to get out pretty soon. And if you're wondering what a fractional freebie, why I'm doing fractional freebies, it's because I use 3/4 inch stitches that I have shared before in what is a 3/4 inch stitch on previous videos. But it's basically, you know, a half stitch is where you only use 2 holes of that X, a 3/4 inches where you use 3 holes of that X, and they're not real popular right now. I mean, people have been using them for 100 years, but I don't think that computer pattern keepers like them very much. But I use them because I like to use slightly bigger holes. I'm not really big on the microscopic linen holes, and I like Ada, and to me it's just a logical way that you can get curves. I mean, this is because of 3/4 inch stitches that I can get a curve without going a smaller count of X's. I'm really butchering this, but I'm going to make another video explaining this. I shouldn't stop now and explain it. I should tell you that I'm releasing another fractional freebie stitch for an ornament for Christmas, and I will also be taping a video explaining fractional stitches if you're interested. But you should know that I do use a lot of fractional stitches in my work, and that's something that you should know about before you think about buying my patterns. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so, but I did want to talk about, and I will again scoot over so I can put a picture here. Oh my goodness, some people, other designers are releasing the coolest Christmas patterns. I am doing this 7 days a week right now to catch up with myself. I haven't done any personal artwork for months. I haven't done any collaging, which is my personal artwork that I like to do for myself, for months. I also love writing, and I have not written anything. All I have done is work on designs to kind of get ahead seasonally where I need to be, and I'm almost there. Hopefully December I will be able to do some personal work. At that point, to confess, am going to be going back and doing more of my applique. I have several pieces that are getting dusty, waiting for me to return to them. But if in that time of year when I'm not designing my own designs and doing personal work, if I wasn't going back to collaging, I would be stitching these designs because they are gorgeous. So I wanted to highlight a few because there's certainly options for you. The first one is, let me get queued up here. The first one is blue flower stitching. I'm looking at my other screen to get it right. Is it Jeannie? I think it's Jeannie McGowan. And she is, her work is gorgeous. It always has been. Everything I've seen. I'm looking through her Instagram feed, and if you're not following her, I would follow her. Her handle, and I will put a link up, is just blue flower stitching. And she has Christmas meerkats. Oh my gosh. She has Christmas meerkats. Like those, they look like prairie dogs from, is it Africa? And they have sweaters on that say fa la 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 la. Oh my gosh. It is so, and they have knit caps. Like, it is so adorable. I mean, I would love, there's several things, especially Christmas things, that I want in my house. I have a buffet, and I'm like, I want to cluster. Like, one thing is I want to cluster a Liz Matthews Christmas cross-stitch trees with the frogs, the Christmas trees. I don't have the time to make them, but eventually I really hope that I will have some relationships with other stitchers and give over some of my designs to other people to stitch, because I will gladly do that. But if I do that, it's then for me to go back and work on my my fabric collage, because I've been doing that for 20 years. I mean, that's me defined as an artist, is to have, and I was telling my husband, I need to figure this out. We're in a season, so a 4-month season, seasonally, 3/4 of that season needs to be me creating original work. And then 1/4 of that season can be me designing. So I'm working towards that. But saying that, I will pay someone to make some of these other I will buy these cross-stitch designs from other people because I want them so bad. But I want the fa la 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 with Meerkats. And then that's not only that from her. And then a couple of days before that, she came up, and apparently her and Stacy Nash have both been doing this. It's like vintage dog Christmas is the way I would describe it. I'll put a picture up here. And oh my gosh, they are all adorable. I mean, the weenie dog in the striped sweater, or the pug, or the dog with the sleigh pulling the big dog, pulling the rest of the little dogs in the sleigh. These things are absolutely wonderful. With the ornaments, I mean, they're just, I mean, I love vintage Christmas. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love I love Santa and the reindeer and the vintage things. But to do something like this where it's just totally original, the art, I mean, this is art. This, I did a long spiel, but the short spiel is, the art is original. Like when you're an artist, the expectation is you're creating something that no one else has created that's original. And this is art. These are original patterns. Now they'll be recreated, and then there's a craft in recreating them that is also wonderful. And it'll be wonderful to see what colors and styles people use. But I mean, this is like, nobody has done Meerkat saying fa la 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 la. Everybody does Santa, but yeah, I mean, Meerkat saying fa la 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 la. And then the other designer that I was just like, oh my gosh, again, dogs, Christmas dogs, is Stacy Nash, and I'll put up an image here from her Instagram with a link. She is doing, again, like a wiener dog, but her wiener dog has a Santa hat on. It is so cute. Again, with holly in its mouth and a present on its back, and then the other is another wiener dog that, again, has a stocking in its mouth. I mean, these are fantastic. So yeah, I just thought those were so fun for Christmas. So those are just some patterns that I wanted to highlight. I'm just looking down, making sure that I hit everything at least once so I don't keep going around and around to the same place again. So plans before Monday, this video should be up. My Christmas Dala Breed pattern should be up on my Etsy site. And I should hopefully be almost getting my fractional freebie Christmas ornament up. And that one, when I get it up, I will advertise it on social media, and I will have that on my website. You can go to moonflowerstudio.biz, go to the CrossStitch page, and there should be a PDF link to just download it, and it'll just be a one sheet with all the directions about kind of what I did. My my fractional freebie pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns up there right now, kind of the same idea. I have in the works I have two things in the works that I'm stitching on that are just winter fun cross-stitch designs that I want to release the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday. And then I have two more slightly bigger designs that again are just winter fun after Christmas stitching that have not been started. Well, they have been started because, again, they're designs from my applique, so they've been drawn out. They just haven't been fed into my cross-stitch design software that I'll be jumping on next. And then my hope is that by pretty close into December, I will be caught up with myself, and I can then jump into some personal work. I have a very large fabric collage piece that I have just been wanting to finish and frame for a couple years, literally. And as soon as I catch up with myself and have hopefully a month or so, maybe even slightly longer, between having to then do the next cross stitch, I can work on that. And I think I've mentioned a couple times that I already have most of my spring cross stitch done. So that's hopefully will be a good place to catch up with myself. I have Valentine's designs. I have 2 of those that again were things I used in I have done an applique that I want to recreate and cross stitch. So my list is still long. I don't know when it's going to get shorter, but yeah, so I'm just enjoying this. I mean, I can't tell you how wonderful it's been after the last couple years with taking care of aging parents and the pandemic and breaking my foot. Good things happened too. One of my daughters got married, but that took a lot of my attention. How just wonderful it is to really, I think the funnest thing for me is in doing this, it's forced me to pay attention to the seasons. And I've always really thought that'd be a fun way to work through my art, is to pay attention to the seasons. Obviously, when you're a designer, you need to be a little ahead of the seasons. But I happen to live in a place where the different seasons are very drastic and different. So to put my video camera, pointed outside and show you the changing of the seasons, has been a really fun part of this. And I'm feeling very festive for Thanksgiving and Christmas, wanting to just soak them in down to being excited when I go into Starbucks and get the colored cup, because I just haven't really been able to focus on that for a few years. And so yeah, the weather's gorgeous. It's still golden here. It hasn't started to snow. The wood stove is going in the morning. Life is good. And I've had enough trauma as a child. When I say that, I think I'm like kind of like a little Chicken Little. Like I'm like, oh great, now the comets are going to come down from the sky. But we live on a pretty amazing planet that created by the Lord above, and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, so I think that's it. And this is still pretty piecemeal. I was hoping it wouldn't be, but it is. And I'm just going to jump on getting this edited and hopefully get it uploaded. So it is up there for you to enjoy Sunday morning. And I just need to make sure that I advertise on my other social medias, which you can find at the end of this video. And then also everything is listed on my website, which is moonflowerstudio.biz, B-I-Z. All my Instagram, Facebook handles are Moonflower Muse, M-U-S-E, and you're watching my YouTube channel that is Moonflower Musing. So hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I hope you have a wonderful the week before Thanksgiving, and I hope that I get one more video out before the Thanksgiving holiday. So we will see you later.